With bandwidth costs coming down and broadband access increasing across the board, video conferencing solutions are starting to make better business sense than before. In studio with me, I have Selvin Kirstnen from Avaya, who will hopefully shed some light on video conferencing solutions. Selvin, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, we live in a globalized business environment. Companies are multinationals, they have clients and colleagues around the world, and we're trying to bridge that gap through technology. Is video conferencing the way to go?
Most definitely. If we just start with our own country and we look at cost, as you mentioned, if we take just the South African market for starters, you look at people are traveling to meetings, okay? We've now just introduced toll roads, which will be effective very shortly.
No, they're inevitable in a sense.
Exactly. They're not going to go away. So that picks up an additional cost. If you look at somebody that's trying to get to an appointment, who's made an appointment, if you're in the middle of between Johannesburg and Pretoria, for an example, you look at the traffic, you spend an hour going there, you spend an hour coming back, you spend an hour at the meeting, 3 hours gone. Plus the cost of traveling, petrol, toll roads, increased costs. Video conferencing doesn't matter whether you do it from your mobile, your handheld, or your laptop, or anywhere in the world. You can still be in contact with your office, you can still be in contact with your customer at the fraction of a cost.
Because that's my next question about being mobile and being agile to do it wherever you are. There's a big difference between video conferencing and teleconferencing. It's that mobility aspect.
Exactly. So if you look at telepresence or teleconferencing, you've got to be basically in a room, okay? To furnish these rooms costs a lot of money. You're looking at large screens, expensive cameras, high definition cameras and so forth. Now, what happens if you cannot make that meeting but you're supposed to be in that meeting? Okay, telepresence falls away. But yet, if you're on a video conferencing on a mobile, whether it's an Android phone, whether it's a laptop, you can do it from home, you can do it on the road, you can do it anywhere. Obviously, while you're on the road, pull off on the side to be safe. But it's much cheaper, quicker, and faster.
And this video conferencing solution is across all platforms, because that's the biggest complaint, that if I have an Android or versus an iOS system or BlackBerry, that it's not necessarily compatible with what I have.
So we run a system called Scopia in terms of our mobile program. Scopia can be loaded onto any Android device. It can be loaded to most mobile phones, as well as your laptop. And the good part is it doesn't kill your bandwidth.
Now, you spoke about local video conferencing. Let's look at it internationally. We've seen Europe and America still going through quite a serious recession, although recovery. Markets like Africa being more buoyant. From a cost management perspective, this obviously makes more sense than sending someone on a plane on business class to a foreign territory.
Well, the internal policy at Avaya at the moment, if it's a local meeting and an internal meeting, you do it via video conference. Why do I need to send a whole lot of people for trading abroad when it can be done via video conference? Look at the traveling costs, like you said, your flight costs, your accommodation, your beverages and food. It costs a lot of money. Now, at the end of the day, if you're doing it via video conference, I can train more people, I can get more benefit, and I can have a huge cost saving.
But it's also about mobility of the workforce. We've seen that workforce is no longer bound to a desk. People are on the go all over with their mobile phones. How big a role does mobility play in the video conferencing and also in the business scope these days?
A very big role. So if you look at it at this point in time, the more staff you have, okay, the more office space you need, the more work areas you need, the more meeting rooms you need. Now, with video conferencing, these guys can be working from home, which saves your office space, which saves your time. They can be more efficient. In terms of scheduling meetings, they can be more efficient. They don't have to come to the office to use your infrastructure.
Security is always a concern. And when you're doing anything over mobile, there's always that fear of interception. What if somebody's there who shouldn't be? Because if you're in a controlled room, you know exactly who there is. How do you allay those security concerns? So
in terms of security, all our software is completely secure. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're internal or external. We have various measures of security. We have firewalls in place that actually control security across the board. Okay, obviously, if you're sitting in a crowded bar or in a crowded room, and you're going to have to make a confidential call, please move away.
It's just keeping those things in mind.
Exactly.
What is apart from video conferencing, what is the big trend for 2013 from a technology perspective?
So I think that the major trend at this point in time, let's just become mobile.